Thank you again for doing this interview. Could you tell everybody your name, your age, your degree, and the date that you graduated?
So my name is Naomi Coles. I'm 21 years old, and I graduated this past spring. I majored in international studies.
I'm Eddie McDonald. I'm 25 years old. I got a Bachelor's of Arts in History through TASC, and I finished my studies in the fall of 2011.
I'm Christopher Stahlberg. I'm 21 years old. I graduated, if I remember correctly, December of 2013, and my degree was a bachelor's in social sciences.
So my name is Megan Weber. I am 20. I graduated this past summer, summer 2014, after about 2.5 years in CollegePlus.
My name is Jessica Mars. I am 24, and my degree was in English, mainly with a concentration in literature. Finish date for my courses was June 21st.
Okay, so how did you find out about CollegePlus, and what were your main reasons for deciding to go with CollegePlus?
My pastor had mentioned CollegePlus and how he had met a CollegePlus student, which was actually Spencer O'Neill. And he had met him at a camp, and he was talking about the program, and I was in my senior year of high school, and I knew I wanted to do college, but I was kind of trying to figure out exactly how that was going to look. But the reason I chose CollegePlus was, for one thing, I needed to work as well as get my college degree because, I got to afford it somehow. And I also at that time I didn't want to leave home quite yet. I mean, I did want to go away to college, but it just wasn't the optimum. And I liked the flexibility that it offered. So plus, 4 years is a long time to spend in college, and the promise of doing it in 2 years was pretty appealing.
Long story short, I was at my grandma's house one day. We were just talking about it with her about, what are you doing with the rest of your life, Eddie? What are your plans? Oh, I thought about this CollegePlus thing. Well, you should do it. All right, do it right now. So I got up, I went to her computer, and I sat down and filled out the application, and thus began my journey. That was fall of 2009.
I found out about CollegePlus through a link on the Vision Forum website back in about 2006, and after 6 years of kind of knowing it was there, I decided that this was the right path for where God had me in life. It was a cheaper option, it was more flexible. Those were probably two of the biggest things.
Found out about it. My mom had gone to a homeschool convention, and she picked up Brad Voeller's original book, the Accelerated Distance Learning book. I had been looking for colleges right around that time. I think I was about 17, so I was really starting to think, okay, where do I want to go? It was definitely important to me not to go into debt for it, and so CollegePlus seemed like a pretty good option. But I was also intrigued by being able to do it quicker and fit it into your schedule and stuff too. It didn't end up being quite as short as I hoped. Just life interfered, but because I was doing CollegePlus, it still worked out.
So when you started out, did you have a specific idea of what you wanted to major in, or how did the process of deciding that go for you?
I decided to get my degree after about 8 months in CollegePlus. When I joined CollegePlus, I was a very undecided 17-year-old who wanted to major in everything from computer science to English. So I was all over the map and really had no idea. My coach walked me through some job shadowing. I spent a lot of time talking to my parents and looking up things online, and ultimately decided that while I wasn't completely sure accounting was what I wanted to do for forever, that I could go into a variety of areas of business and continue to grow my business administration skills. And throughout the path of my degree, I come to realize that doing some executive assisting is probably where my gifts lie, and accounting will help with that.
All through high school, I knew I wanted to pursue college for writing. I initially started out as an English major. It's one of those good general degrees, and I was hoping to pursue writing with it. But how does that happen? It doesn't really happen to an English major, was what I found out, 90 credits into my degree. So I actually switched majors at 90 credits. And the reason I went for international studies, now this comes, what comes into play here is what I would encourage all new students is, you don't get bent out of shape picking out a degree, because for me, I chose English because I felt it matched very particularly what I wanted to do with my life. However, when I started looking at the Thomas Edison courses and realizing I was going to be studying literature for a year, that's all, like Shakespeare and Austen, Jane Austen, and I'm really not a fan of either of those authors. And all of a sudden I'm like, if I'm pouring all this money and time into college, why not do something I'm interested in? So I started re-looking at the majors. Travel and foreign culture, language, that's a huge passion of mine. I just kind of I was, heck, who cares? I'm just going to go for something that, it's really not a career-oriented major, but it matched my interest, and it matched what I felt I could study for a year and pour my time into for a year, while still giving me some beneficial things that I could take with me after I was finished.
Could you elaborate a little bit on how the community of CollegePlus students influenced you and played a role in your process of earning your degree?
They kind of acted, I don't want to call it a small group, but that's kind of what they acted as, where you get to talk to people, throw your ideas back and forth, and I could talk about how college was going, how life was going. It kind of gave me a bit of a moral support, I guess, and keeping me going, knowing that there are others out there who are doing the exact same thing, and kind of asking for every now and then for help on certain tests and what I should study up on more and things like that. It was a big moral support for me, and I really definitely needed that kind of a moral support to keep myself going. So
I had originally was just kind of plugging along, doing it, working with my coach, and that was it. But then my coach suggested I go on the forums to find test tips for one of the tests that was coming up. And then I kind of just started getting plugged in through that. And it's just been, it was really encouraging. And times when you felt like you can't go any farther, there's somebody there to push you along, give you a tip, offer to kind of be a study buddy, or, different things like that. So people say, oh, if you don't go to traditional college, you don't get the experience with other students and all of that. But I feel like CollegePlus really has that, and it's even better because you're not having to necessarily go try to find the people at your campus who believe the same things you do.
So I would say, especially during my coaching hold, the forums the library especially was a huge benefit to my test and just kind of figuring out how to apply, all those sort of hurdles that you come across as a student. But really, all that aside, the biggest role the forums played was, meeting some of my very best friends today. I met 4 people on the forums who I am still extremely close to. And like I said, I can't imagine, I'm just very grateful to the forums for allowing me to meet those people and make some lifelong friends that I wouldn't have had the chance to otherwise.
If you were to go back and change anything while you were earning your degree, what would it be?
I think the accountability aspect of the community is great, and I think I would have pursued that more. I don't think I appreciated that same thing that I got from my coach can also be done in a more minor way through community. And the more we are accountable to others, the more we can accomplish.
I kind of waited till the last minute on just about everything. That was extremely stressful. Having those deadlines that I could have been done with them already if I had only, started a little sooner. Yeah, definitely procrastinating less would be a very good thing for me if I could go back and redo everything.
The stress level that I had wasn't really what I even needed to have, and I unnecessarily worked myself up over a lot of things. Tests, classes. You want to do well, but there's a certain point where I would tell myself, okay, pull back a little bit, because I had the tendency to work myself up a lot.
So you've gotten through college now, you've gotten your degree. What are you doing now?
I work at a startup publishing company now. It's a very small publishing company, but I've been able to, I've learned an incredible amount. It's great.
I'm a coach for CollegePlus. Kind of walking down that road with my coach of how do I get from where I am to where I want to be with having meaningful, small group, one-on-one conversations with young people about God and life purpose and education and the future. The more I thought about it, it was like, wow, my coach is doing with me exactly what I want to do with young people. I didn't know it was a career. All those jobs fairs I went to with the homeschool group, all those books I read, or the websites I read on different career opportunities, coaching never popped up. And it, again, come back to the consistent theme of God's sovereignty. He led me to the program through which He would lead me to my purpose.
I'm kind of doing my best to get prepared to go to a seminary, hopefully, in the fall. And I'll have enough money saved up for that, and I plan on getting a Master's of Divinity. And That requires quite a bit of money, though, so I'm kind of just working as much as I possibly can.
I work part-time, and mainly I'm just being home with my family. Having earned my degree so quickly, it's now allowing me flexibility to pursue a small business idea from home, but really just to get to invest this time with my family, with my siblings who are still at home, and really just be there for them in a way that I wouldn't be able to if I were away at a college campus.
Well, I am working full-time as a creative project manager at my church with the creative media department. We go to a pretty big church, so there's lots of things going on all the time. So I help manage schedules, work with vendors and other departments to make sure everything's getting done as it needs to be. And I'm writing a lot of stuff to either weekend handouts or emails, different things like that. So a lot of the things I'm learning, or that I learned throughout the course of my degree, are definitely coming in handy.
If you could personally give a piece of advice to all new CollegePlus students, what would that piece of advice be?
Get involved in the community. Call the office. Tell them you are dying to get to meet other students. They will tell you what to do. Just keep reaching out if you feel like you're not getting involved in the ways you want to get involved. If you're on a social media, CollegePlus students are on it. So get out there and connect with students.
Well, definitely get plugged in to the student community. Even if you think you don't need it, it's definitely helpful. You can get test tips, you get somebody to push you along when you need it, and also not to stress out as much as you may be tempted to do. There's a lot of tests where I just stayed in my room all day and just constantly studied, but the ones putting the book down, go outside, go to bed early, get a little bit of perspective and just kind of refresh time, and it helps you be more focused when you get back to it.
Be flexible. Make sure, since you've chosen CollegePlus, which is by nature a very out-of-the-box way to earn a college degree, make sure you use that flexibility to your advantage and pursue a life outside of college. Do college as hard as you can. I mean, I earned my degree in just over 2 years, but I traveled overseas twice during that time. I worked a total of 2 jobs. I was able to pursue quite a few things and managed to maintain a life outside of college, and CollegePlus is really the only way I could have actually done that. So take advantage of that flexibility. Take longer if you need to, but make sure that you're using that flexibility to your advantage to pursue other things outside of college, so you don't kind of bury yourself in a textbook for 2 to 4 years of your life.
If I could strongly impress just one thing on the minds of any CollegePlus students, and I tell my students this, it's like if all you got from your time in the program was one thing from me, it's the value of walking through life with someone else. That mentor section and navigate. The concept of having somebody else walk down the road of life with you. We isolate ourselves, and even with social media, we isolate ourselves. We can be super connected and very alone. And I think, again, there's that concept of accountability and submission, whether it's submission to God and accountability to Him, and or to parents or to mentors or to friends. There's a direct correlation between submission and relationship and accountability. They're connected. And I think I would impress upon my students and any student the value of finding people who can display to them facets of God's character, and then get to know those people well. Find as many mentors as you can. People who do something or are something the way you want to do or be that thing.